On today's upload, we're gonna see if we can figure out what caused this Volkswagen Jetta TDI to stop running. Is it a bad high pressure fuel pump? Did they accidentally put gas in it? Or is it as simple as maybe a clogged fuel filter? All these questions and more are what I'm asking while I'm trying to diagnose what caused this TDI to just stop running. Volkswagen says it's gonna cost $6,000 and I disagree. So let's dive into it and see if we can figure out what caused it to shut down. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day as always. Today is interesting because we have a new TDI in the shop. What do you think about this one? Yeah. It's got the black leather in it. It's got the fender. It's got the touchscreen. It's also broken, doesn't start. And here's what Volkswagen says. That vehicle battery dead, no crank, please advise. Went out with a jump box and battery will turn over, but still doesn't have enough power to jump it. Recommended starting with a good battery, installed new battery, and it turns over strong. Checked fuel pressure, and it's getting pressure. Removed metering valve, and it's filled with metal particles. Removed fuel filter and has metal and smells like gas. The friction of gas caused high pressure pump not to be lubricated and started to wear. Client has to replace battery and diag. Found fuel system has metal in it. Will need to be replaced. $6,338.28. What cost $6,000 on this thing? So here's the long and the short here. What this is basically saying here is that Dom put gas in his car, which is highly probable. I mean, here, people do it. I have personally fixed a lot of diesel into a gas car, which surprisingly isn't like nearly as bad as you would think it might. Not nearly as bad as putting gas into your diesel. Putting gas into your diesel is like catastrophic, I've always been told. I've never had the luxury of dealing with it, but now I do, possibly. And I'll be honest, that alone really makes me excited for doing this, because one of the things that I find the most value in working on cars is the opportunity to learn something new. So here's the deal. Dom is a pharmaceutical courier. So he drives this thing a ton. So for me to believe that he put gas in it is a little difficult. I mean, the guy uses a lot of diesel fuel. He just fills this thing up often, considering what he does. I don't know, man. I do not know, but we're gonna find out. So let's just see what it does here. All right, first impressions are just wow. Wow, 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 wow. We've got a fuel rail system pressure too low, no sig. Fuel rail system pressure too low, no or wrong adaptation. Torque differences, cylinder value reached. Cylinder 4, 2, 1, and 3. Cylinder 1 injection timing. Cylinder 3, 4, 2 injection timing. ECM power relay, load circuit, energized performance 2, I don't know what that. Fuel for metering, open circuit, manifold boost pressure. All of these codes down here, these are all related to like the battery in the car being wonky and then somebody putting one in. Probably also has something to do with the battery voltage being extremely low. What I care most about is all of the codes for the engine management. That's what I care about. I don't care anything about the electronics right now on the car, only because I know the car needed a battery and a crank no start condition. So we're just loading the battery and not replenishing the battery. We're just taking from it nonstop. So that's gonna play some wonky things on the rest of the car system. Start basic and let's see what's what. Let's see if we can get some fuel up to it. See if it smells like gasoline, because gasoline and diesel have a completely different texture. They smell differently, they taste differently. They're even different on how they go boom. We can do some tests here to figure out what kind of fuel is in this right now. And if it's diesel, we'll know. If it's gas, oh, we're gonna know as well. Gas in a diesel is like off because it doesn't lubricate anything. It has a different flash point. It might actually cause the engine to knock. It can pre-dead as soon as it hits the cylinder if the temperatures are right. Some weird shit could go down here. That said though, I am very curious, could I just drain the system, fill it with pure diesel if it has gas in it? Volkswagen wants to replace the entire fuel system essentially, from injector to gas tank. everything in between. I'm assuming that's what $6,000 plus tax. I don't believe we need to do all that. And we're gonna find out what we actually gotta do to get this thing safely back on the road. Because the gas tank we should be able to flush. It's made of plastic. We should be able to flush that system, flush the lines. We might have to replace the in-tank pump. We might have to replace this pump, but I'm pretty sure this is rebuildable. I know that there are rebuild kits out there for every Ford, every Chevy, every Dodge. I'm willing to bet there's a rebuild kit on the market and we can rebuild that. Because the way I'm understanding this is that basically, if it has gas in it, the gas killed the pump, right? And that's where all the metal's coming from. I don't know, guys, but we are gonna find out what is going on with this thing. I've confirmed a few things. One, definitely that is the high pressure pump. That is the metering valve. This is the line into the pump. This is the return line. And then these two lines right here are the return to the tank and the feed to this guy. I did find a kit out of Germany. It's this thing right here, right? All that for like $2,200. I don't know how good or bad it is, but you know, hypothetically speaking, if he does need all this crap, well, we know he now knows that he could play this gamble. I just want to clarify. I am not saying that any Audi tech is wrong or anything even remotely to that. Frankly, Audi technicians, Volkswagen technicians are way more trained than I am on these matters. They have a multi-billion-dollar industry backing them. If they say this has got gas in it, statistical odds here are that they are right. They can't just go and write an estimate like that and be like, oh, they might be wrong. It's not, they can't do that. I mean, I guess somebody could, but I feel like that'd be a lawsuit. I say that because I just think the total is outrageous. That's all I'm getting. I just think things are way cheaper to fix than what it's led on to be. Got the screws out of the metering rod. So let's give this thing a look-see. Oh yeah, there is definitely metal in there. I don't know if you guys can see this. There is definitely metal in there. Yep, $1 million question is, that doesn't smell like gasoline. That smells like diesel, not gas. And that's got me a little concerned. Maybe just the high pressure pump took a poo on itself? Do not know. And I'm assuming there's no more filters in this system between here and there. Be right back. I gotta do some more research here real quick. I'm scratching my head and I'm thinking, and I don't want to waste tape. All right, so I've done some more digging into this. Been looking at this metering valve and I noticed that there's a screen right here. You see that screen right there? Yeah, that thing. Yes, there's metal in there, but there's only one way for the fuel to get up and out of there. And from my understanding, essentially this is a fuel pressure regulator, right? This is the outlet side of the fuel pump, HPF, or high pressure fuel pump. You have a low pressure and you have a high pressure. Low pressure gets it here, the high pressure gets it there. And that's all to do with like engine cylinder pressures. That's why the whole thing about putting gas into your diesel is bad. So my thought here is that any metal that's there can't get past that screen. I mean, that's a pretty fine micron screen. So this side of the fuel system should be okay. I don't believe it can be contaminated just due to the way the system is designed. We're gonna find out, but I don't expect to see metal anywhere else in this side of it, possibly over here, and here. I also could be completely wrong about this thing as well. Like, I don't even know how fuel gets into there unless that's where fuel comes, which if that's the case, then my entire theory is blown out the water and we are screwed and there's probably contaminants everywhere. Diagnosing the problem is 90% of the issue. Any monkey can change a part. Respectfully speaking, I could train anybody to change a part. So we got to figure out exactly what's causing it, because if I know what's causing it, then spending $6,000 is probably not the option here, nor is spending $3,000. It might come down to, if we can verify that there's no metal contaminants or anything, and we know it's just that pump has taken a poo and we've isolated it, here, you put a new filter in it, put a new pump in it, and you might only spend $500 in parts. It's a lot better than $4,000. And that's what I'm curious of. How bad is bad? This technician take a shotgun approach to what was broke and just said, it needs all this because that's what he's trained to do? I don't know. I've never been in their boot. I can only speculate, which is kind of nice because then if I'm wrong, oh well, I'm wrong. It's not the end of the world. I'm like 40% sure that we just need a pump. I don't know about the rest of the stuff. That's what we're gonna find out. I want to get the fuel filter out. Let's get it inspected. Let's see what's going on with it. I also want to get this line off right here. This is the feed line that feeds the common rail. Whatever's came through the pump is gonna be in that rail. So if there's metal in that rail, there's metal in the system. I'm gonna go grab a coffee filter before I do this though, so I'll be right back. Well, you can already see there's definitely metal in there. I'm even more confident that this is diesel and it's not gas. It's got the right hue to it. It's got the right smell. All right, guys, it's time for a little science. We're gonna actually see what the flash point of this is, because gas and diesel mixed together should still have a relatively low flash point, I would think. Diesel has a really high flash point. Like, I actually watched a guy, British guy, solder fuel rail lines in a diesel truck with diesel in the fuel line, butane torch, like a MAP gas torch. Like something kind of like that. I the whole time thought we was gonna blow up. My point here is diesel has a really low flash point. So it's like, so it has to be vaporized. I know there's some voodoo and science in there. I don't know all that, but I do know that you can pretty much take an open flame to diesel and it won't just boom. It's more like kerosene than anything else. We're gonna take a little bit of this and a little bit of this, and we're gonna take a torch to these two sticks and see which one flat pops off faster. There's no real reason to do this. I'm just doing it because I'm curious. Let's take a little bit of this. All right, let's give this a dip. Let's go with straight gasoline, all right? Gasoline should still have a really high flash point. Yeah, you see how fast that went up? Super easy, even after I relight it. Yeah, see how easy it still comes right back to life? Diesel, on the other hand, if this is pure diesel, so nice and wet, like it doesn't just want to light, versus bet you this one's still, yeah, look at that, look how easy that still wants to come to life. Now the $1,000,000 question I want to know is, what happens when we mix the two together? Oh, funny thing about this gas is it's actually the old gas out of, oh, the wood chipper. All right, so let's give this a little, that even has a different smell. Oh, that goes up really quick. After that little test, I'm pretty sure this is all diesel. I don't think it's got gas in it. I think the pump just took a poop. You know, sometimes you just gotta have a little fun when you're playing around with things. Like, there is no reason whatsoever for me to have caught it on fire to see if it was gas or diesel. I just wanted to know. Interesting. So you're probably like, why did I put oil through it? All right, so here's what I did. I'm gonna cut to a clip and do some like voiceovers here at this moment. So I took the oil and I started blowing it through these ports one at a time, because I wanted to understand where on the back of here they come out of. It's still looking good for this side of the fuel system. I don't think we're gonna have to replace anything here yet, but as I've pulled lines off, I have not seen any residual. I just haven't seen it yet. Plus, going back to the metering valve, having a filter on it as well, it's still another thing. It's like, I don't think it really got that far. Taking things apart, the way things look, I expected to see metal in other parts of the engine. Like, I expected to see metal here, but I did not expect to see it like anywhere else. Pre-diagnostic. This video is gonna be long. Let's get back into it and see what else we can find out. I think the next thing we're gonna dive into is getting this pump off of here, or at least getting better access to the pump. I don't think we're to the point yet where it's like, okay, something else is going on. I gotta dive some more into this, so I'll be back. All right, the next thing I think I'm gonna have to do is figure out how to get to this pump. So I know I'm gonna have to take this housing off because it looks like I'm gonna have to get some bits out of here. I believe this is another fuel pump up here, or maybe some sort of separator cartridge. So that's probably gonna have to come off. This timing cover is gonna have to come off because the pump is timing driven, and we've already got the common rail feed line off, so we're just gonna have to disconnect this return line and get that off. I'm gonna cut to a time lapse, see what's going on here. All right, so another thing I read online while doing my little bit of digging into this of just like what could cause what was supposedly this could slip, but I'm not seeing any marks where like the bolts might have been and now they are type of thing. So I don't think the pump is slipped on the belt. The belt actually looks in really good condition, but overall, yeah, It looks fine. I will have to say I don't have a timing kit for this engine, so I'm gonna have to get one of those. I'm probably gonna have to get some specialty tools to get that pump off with. Also, I'm gonna take a GAN. So since we can't do anything else on this side, I think I'm gonna see how much of this pump I can disassemble where it's set. We're gonna see how much of that thing we can take apart. Yeah. All right, let's get into the updates. Here's what we know now. Metal, where is it? We do not have any metal in the fuel pump, the low pressure fuel pump. I got some coffee filters here, drained all the gas through it. There's nothing in there, so that's a good. We have definitely got metal in the exterior side of the filter, not on the inside of the filter, which is a good thing because that means that all the fuel coming out into the pump is clean. From the filter to the pump is clean. However, when I took this bit out, which essentially this is like one of the mechanics of the pump, it goes on this side, it's hidden underneath this cover. Down in there, that is all clean. For me, what that's saying is that that the fuel coming in this port, doing some stuff down in there, getting regulated right here, because I'm gonna assume it goes in there down to the regulator, whatever's not needed comes back out of here, returns to the fuel system, and then the metering valve, which is this bit, pumps fuel into there, this goes into here. This screen hole right there is then providing clean fuel, whatever's inside the rest of the pump. I don't know yet because I can't take it off. And that's where I am stuck, which sucks. At the end of the day, I get to buy more tools, so I'm like kind of stoked. I always like buying tools is like birthday and Christmas all wrapped into one. And you get to do it every time you challenge yourself. You get to a point when you work on something new that you're like, oh, I can't go on any further because I don't have tool that does this job. So you got a couple options. You make the tool or you buy the tool. Well, in an engine's case, I'm gonna buy the tool, but that tells me that I've challenged myself and I get like a little reward for that. So it's like, yay, dopamine fix because I get to spend money on tools. Yay! All right, guys, I think that's where I'm gonna end it. All we do on this channel is figure out how to save thousands working on our own cars. We build a few race cars that turn into pits to get stuff set on, and we rebuild engines. If you find that stuff entertaining and you like those type of shenanigans, so if yay, I figured out a way to get you here, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace, I'm Audi.